Killer Kyle, and welcome to another installment of Look Back At, where we will talk about Backlash. So last week it was Backlash 1999. Today we're going to go all the way back to Backlash 2001. And oh my god, you want to say relive not childhood, relive your adolescent years?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
This is like one of the biggest, times, because from 1999 to 2002, it just seemed like, the last years of the WWF were kind of hit and miss.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and this year was really cool. You just got Austin turning heel at WrestleMania. You have the joining of him and Triple H, the two-man power trip, one of the best tag teams of the 2000s. You have a lot of cool shit going on. Of course, a very a very interesting image of Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, this was one of those shows where you really got a good understanding of wrestling as it should be, but also wrestling in a light that was directed to majority of the audience, whether it be, teenagers, adults, the older generation, maybe for kids, if you let your kids watch stuff like what was going on from till 95, 96 to 2002.
Yeah. And it's just like, nowadays it seems like I'm always going to say that it's not as bad as 2006, 2011, but, a lot of people are like, oh, the Attitude Era. I kind of like this year. I mean, I miss the Attitude Era just as much as I miss the new generation.
The thing about 2000, 2001, and even when they changed from World Wrestling Federation to World Wrestling Entertainment, and before they really got kind of heavy into the PG era, so to speak, wrestling was still edgy, but they weren't over the top edgy as they were 99 and earlier.
Yeah. No, I guess.
Because, you still had your hardcore matches, you still had your Falls Coming Anywhere, Last Man Standing, etc., etc.
Yeah, and you still had, I talk about WrestleMania this year and the match between Triple H, Stephanie versus Ronda, and Kurt, and it's like, you see the men and the women go at it, and it's kind of reminiscent of this time, because, nowadays it's like, oh, you're not allowed to touch a woman, but she could slap the taste out of your mouth. That doesn't seem fair to me, but anyways.
And also, back in those days, rarely would it ever happen, but very reoccurring, you had intergender matches, which was, again, guy and girl, one team, guy and girl on another team, and guys just face guys, girls face girls, guys could face a girl, depending on who it was. And they did some pretty routine wrestling holds on each other and stuff like that. And then as kind of the years went on, the intergender side of it became a special attraction, you could say, and it just went more just towards the mixed tag rules, where you're still a guy and a girl on teams, but only the guys can wrestle each other and only the girls can wrestle each other. You can have a guy face a girl or a girl face a guy.
Yeah.
Why they did that, I guess, for the purpose of promoting, like, anti-abuse towards women and, you know, hitting a woman's not right and everything, which I totally 100% agree with.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just WWE, WWF was careful in portraying, okay, we're going to have Triple H and Stephanie have an interaction with each other. We're going to have Terry Runnels and
Perry
Saturn have an interaction with each other. China and Stevie Richards, or Beth Phoenix and Great Khali.
Yeah.
And they could, like, okay, Triple H would grab Stephanie by the hair and say something to her and then pedigree her. And, you know, China would have a match with Stevie Richards and they'd be going back and forth with each other, and it'd be like punch and kick and, you know, elbows and submissions and all that stuff. They were, but the whole point I'm getting at here is, it was guys against girls, but it was strictly wrestling based, or it was something to do with a storyline that didn't go crazy with it. But then eventually they just went, well, maybe we should only have guys face each other, girls face each other, and not have girls against guys, just for purpose of, like, well, just for a good image, I guess.
Yeah. Well, anyways. So we start off with, again, Sunday Night Heat. We had Jerry Lynn, who defeated Crash Holly to win the Light Heavyweight Championship. I know, it's funny because that was like the answer to the Cruiserweight title.
Well, this was the prelude to the Cruiserweight Championship.
You know, and it's like a lot of these guys, Christian and X-Pac, even Dwayne Gill winning the title. So, I mean, and that's actually the first one I got at Walmart. And it's like, it was a good title, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously the Cruiserweight title's better, you know, but anyways, this was a good match. I'm sure, like, I didn't see it at the time.
Yeah.
And if I did, I can't remember. But
yeah.
Then we have Molly Holly versus Lita.
Right.
And again, I don't remember this match, but
yeah.
Lita won, so there it is.
Yes. One thing about Lita and Molly Holly is both of them were very good, well-rounded competitors. They can both have many spectacular mat-based moves, and they could also do the high-flying stuff. Now, Lita did a little more of the high-flying stuff than Molly Holly would have, but still, both were very good at mixing in both styles. Now, they didn't really go too much to submission-based wrestling, but I need to say that, nevertheless, they both amazing performers, really good in the ring together, and the matches that Molly Holly had in her career with several different women, Lita as well, were just stand out.
Yeah, I mean, Lita is another one of those great competitors that the Latina wrestler that can do the high flying Hurricane Rana,
Yes.
whatever. She did it really good. I mean, when I first saw her debut with S.A. Rios,
Yes.
just wow, the whole. I'd never seen a woman do that at that point. So, the Molly Holly's coming back this year, and the women's battle royal, I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
she still has it.
Oh yeah.
So,
No doubt. And the thing about it too is like, with Lita getting her big start in wrestling in Mexico, that really goes to show you like how well she developed that lucha style in the high risk and high flying. And then when she went to the United States and other places, she learned the catch as catch can style of wrestling and was really able to mesh the two styles together and really make it her own.
yeah. But this, I mean, and again, it's great to see them. It's like they haven't aged.
Oh yeah. Like, I'm sure they're both 30, late 30s, early 40s or so.
Yeah.
But they both seem like they're still 20s.
Yeah, well, when you see them in the ring,
Yeah.
especially Molly Holly, it's almost like holy shit, they still look, young.
Yeah.
But then we go on a 6-man tag team match. We've got, you're living with the X Factor. It's X-Pac, Albert, and Just Incredible,
Yes.
who took on the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray, Devon, and Little Spike Dudley.
Yeah.
And this was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for a guy that was, I don't know, 5'7", 5'8", 160 pounds roughly, you wouldn't necessarily think he would be paired off with guys that are 6'8", 300 pounds, or, 220 pounds, 225 pounds, 230 pounds, whichever. But yet, he did it, and people just adored the shit out of Spike.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you got Bubba Ray and Devon, two straightforward smash mouth bruiser brawlers that could kick the living shit out of you. And just have those three together made some pretty good matches. And, just incredible, X-Pac and Albert together. X-Pac and Just Incredible were the speed of that team. Like, Just Incredible had his own aggressive, high-flying style. X-Pac had the martial arts background, and he could do the spin kick and a Bronco Buster and stuff like that. And then Albert was the muscle of the group. He could just go in and run through you like a Mack truck and a Jeep.
Exactly. And, again, we talked about Albert last week, the guy who's very, like, Japan with Giant Bernard. You got A-Train, you got Albert,
Prince Albert.
Tunza,
Yes.
and his stuff with Lotus Clay, but,
Yeah.
this guy's very much, and it's a shame, I don't know if he was Intercontinental Champion at one point,
I don't think so.
so he may or may not have had a title, but we'll have to look that up, but
Yeah.
in any case, X Factor won, and, that was, yeah,
X Factor.
Yeah, X Factor. I don't even know why.
Second guess yourself.
Yeah.
The thing about Albert too was, for his kind of long tenure in WWE before he went off to Japan, and then come back and doing the whole Tensai character and what have you, he was really good in the ring. He could move very well for a big man. He was very strong and had a lot of power moves. It just seemed his ring style needed something extra
Yeah.
in order for him to have maintained a WWE career. But you know what they say, hey, leave WWE for a little while, 2, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is. You come back and hell, you could be better the second go around than you were the first go around. I mean, hell, look at McIntyre for fuck's sake.
Yeah, look at McIntyre. I was gonna say Gold Dust, but yeah. As much as I hate Dolph Ziggler, him pairing with Drew is pretty awesome.
But I mean, really think about it though. When McIntyre first came into the WWE, he was Mr. McMahon's chosen one.
Yeah.
Mr. McMahon was like, I like this guy. I think he's gonna be the next big star of WWE. And he had a fairly good run. Got the Intercontinental Championship, he held the Intercontinental Championship for a little bit. And then it seemed to be somewhere along the lines, it just... something happened and it faded away. And then, like, he was still competing in the ring and still having good matches. It just seemed there was a change between him first coming into WWE and then progressed in WWE, and then there was the whole, God forbid, 3-man band routine, which was like, okay, we got 3 flailing superstars, what do we do with them? Well, hell, let's throw them together and see what happens. Well,
Yeah.
it worked, but it never really went anywhere. And then, Jinder Mahal eventually became, revitalized as the modern day Maharaja. US Championship, WWE Championship.
Yeah.
Hell of a run right now. You got Heath Slater
Who has kids?
with Rhino. They have the tag titles. He's off on a pretty good run. McIntyre left WWE, went to Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure the Indies as well, but he did Impact Wrestling for at least like 6-7 years, something like that.
No, he was in also Insane Championship Wrestling, which is in Scotland.
Yes.
So, and I mean, yeah, he's yet to become WWE champion at some point.
But I mean, he leaves WWE, goes to Impact Wrestling, has a hell of a run in Impact Wrestling. They had the whole thing with the Rising and the other group feuding with each other, and then they went their separate ways. McIntyre had a stellar solo career in Impact Wrestling, became Impact Heavyweight Champion. I think he was also Grand Champion, and then he decides, okay, I'm gonna leave Impact Wrestling and survey my options and see what comes up. NXT came a knocking, he answered the door,
Yeah.
he signs with NXT, he has a heck of a run in NXT, he becomes NXT champion, goes along with that for a little while, then has a match with Almas, tears his pectoral muscle, or his bicep, one or the other, in the match. He loses the title to Almas. He gets, does their whole recovery thing. I think he needed surgery for it as well.
Yeah.
So he gets the surgery, does their whole recovery thing, and you see him pop up sporadically here and there for like a kickoff show at a takeover or whatever. But for sure, at some point, he'd come back, go on another run for a little bit in NXT, and then, go from there. But he recovers from injury. It's looking like he's going to come back, and next thing you know, he's on Raw with Ziggler.
Yeah.
Not even at least a few matches on NXT after recovering from injury. It was just, okay, you recovered from injury, you're healthy, we want to put you on Raw, let's see what happens. Or put you with Ziggler, let's see what happens. And, I mean, it's working pretty good so far. Yeah. We'll see where it goes, but nevertheless.
Now, speaking of Rhino, we have a hardcore championship match. We got Rhino versus Raven. And this was a pretty short match. You got Raven, the guy who was in ECW, WCW, WWF, doesn't really have, only had the hardcore title, but, comes out and he always carries the cart.
Yeah, the cart full of things, candlesticks, garbage cans,
and the kitchen sink.
Yeah, kitchen sink.
And this was pretty cool. I got Rhino being gored into the...
Yeah, Rhino going to go for a gore on Raven. Raven moves out of the way and Rhino goes right into the back of the friggin' shopping cart.
So, this was pretty cool. Rhino is the champion, retains the championship, and yeah, I mean, the hardcore title was a great title, and it's unfortunate that it retired, but it was one of the few titles that really meant something.
Oh yeah.
I think, I understood that. I think what Vince was trying to go for was a little mocking of ECW.
One of the things about this match that you really gotta admire is that is what a match with rules and weapons is supposed to be like. What they got nowadays, yeah, okay. You still got no disqualification. You might have a no holds barred. You might have another thing. And yeah, you might see a chair used. You might see a ladder used. You might see maybe a trash can lid used. But fuck, these guys damn near used everything and anything they can get their hands on. And that's what made those kind of matches so you got into them. Because these guys are, beating each other with road signs and a shopping cart and trash can lid, candlestick, shopping cart, this match, and then you got tables, ladders, chairs, barbed wire, fucking thumbtacks, flaming tables, and glass maybe, and fucking the whole 9 yards. And then it seemed like, okay, we're still gonna have the titles for these matches, but we're gonna tone way back on the use of weapons. And my understanding of it is that if you are going to use a weapon of any kind during your match, whether it be no disqualification, no holds barred, etc., you basically gotta go up to like Triple H or Mr. McMahon or whatever and go, okay, I want to use a chair, I want to use a table, I want to use a candlestick, I want to use a trash can, and they'll go, okay, you can do that.
Yeah.
So they basically gotta get permission by head of WWE or whatever, just to use weapons in a match.
Yeah. But I mean, like nowadays, it's coming back more and more with the Falls Count Anywhere and everything like that.
It's getting better. It's not quite the caliber you would expect. It's getting better though.
Yeah. So now we go on to the honest match of the night.
Oh fuck yeah.
Duchess of Queensberry match. William Regal and Chris Jericho. And you have a lady that's dressed up as
Royalty, the
yeah,
queen,
the
whatever.
queen, whatever, yeah. Looks like Marie Antoinette, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I mean, this was a good feud of that year, too. It was like Chris Jericho and William Regal, who had a match at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. Of course, Jericho would lose it to Triple H.
Yes.
But you got these two guys who pretty much, I don't even know if they're feuded back in WCW, but
I think they did.
so it's like pretty cool just to see that. And this match was really cool as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember all of the rules that, you know, Howard Finkel had to talk about. But, you know, it ended up being Chris Jericho going over and, like, throwing the lady into the ring and giving her the walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
When the wall of Jericho was not the Boston Crab, but
Yeah.
this was a good match, you know, and I think, you know, you kind of miss stipulations like that. I mean, it's kind of better than a Kiss Me Arse match
True.
and all that other stuff. But yeah, this was cool. I don't think the feud continued after that. I'm not quite sure, but
Yeah.
it's, you know, one of the best feuds in that time frame.
Oh yeah, for sure. And for me, this specific match, okay, you take the Duchess of Queensberry rules element and eliminate that. The match itself as a whole was a good match. The stipulation, though, falls under the category of what the fuck were they thinking?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't know what these people think about, and I mean, they pretty much it was pretty cool. I can't think of the word for it, but you know, having Chris Jericho piss into William Regal's tea and then William Regal drinking it, it's
Yeah.
pretty much how far that goes. You know,
Yeah.
nowadays, I don't know how well you can get away with that.
And even you got like William Regal going face first under this one random woman impersonation of royalty in England, her crotch, and it's like, ha ha ha. Serves you right, Regal.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. So, next up we got Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle in a 30-minute Ultimate Submission match. And see, this, if you're gonna have a submission match, or an Ultimate Submission match, or even just a match where you want to see two guys really go heavy at it, and not trying to go dirty here, but just be aggressive in the ring and beat each other up and throw each other around and suplex each other and go for submissions on each other. Those two guys are the two guys you'd want to have in the match, because they were both phenomenal ring tacticians. The suplexes they could pull off were like Brock Lesnar thinks he's got suplex city, he's got nothing on these two. And, you know, okay, you had basically Kurt Angle's main submission was the ankle lock. Chris Benoit's main submission was the crippling crossface. So for a submission match, they would have had to widen their arsenal, if you will, and maybe use a submission that they haven't used before or you didn't see before, just for the purpose of like going making it a good submission match. Now this match did go to overtime. Benoit ended up winning it. Still though, a very good match, and two guys that when you put them in the ring together, it was just something amazing.
Yeah. And another rematch from WrestleMania. They had a really cool Iron Man match, you know. And the thing is, those two very well submission move technicians, and, you know, Kurt Angle pretty much is still that way today.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, as the general manager, sure, that's all fine and good, but once he gets in that ring, oh my god. It's like, he still has it, man.
Father Time ain't got nothing on him.
No, but you got Chris Benoit winning the match.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's fair, because last time they met, it was Kurt Angle that went over.
Right. I was just going to quickly say that we talked about Triple H and Shawn Michaels having them in the ring together as either tag team partners or opponents, and just how spectacular matches that they had were, whether it be like DX or Shawn against Hunter for the WWE Championship, the World Championship, whatever. It was just chemistry. These two fall under the same category. Now, I think there was a few matches that they had where they tagged together, but matches they had against each other were just spectacular.
Yeah, pretty much. So, now we go on to Shane McMahon versus Big Show in a last man standing match.
I think there's a list of guys that you probably wouldn't want to be opposed by in a last man standing match. Big Show would probably be on that list. Although, I mean, it's Shane McMahon. Fucking, he can do anything, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, we've talked about him a lot in the
Yeah.
past, whatever. But the got these two, they paired together in 2000, and they broke it off at some point, but they really go at it. And in the ring, out of the ring, you have Test coming, or no, McMahon comes in, Vince McMahon, when Shane has Big Show down with the chloroform. And
Yeah.
you see, I was wondering why Shane was wearing a mask, but you saw, yeah, Big Show's got put down. Vince comes in with a chair, hits Shane. Well, then you get Test. So, Test kicks Vince's ass, goes after Big Show. You have Shane, I don't know if he was being chased by Big Show, all the way to the ramp. And I got Shane climbing the fucking
The side of the Titantron, if you will.
Yeah.
Big Show's down on like a wooden staging area or whatever. You got Test standing there, seeing some, I don't know, 25, 30 feet in the air.
Yeah, probably bigger than Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, he was quite a ways up there and just goes
Yep. Crosses himself,
and jumps.
flies, and holy fuck.
The landing was smart.
You can see that every fucking time at WWE Network.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ. You know, that guy is a fucking daredevil, and yeah, he won the match. It's now without Test carrying him out.
Well, yeah, Test basically picks Shane up, puts him on like the crane camera, and is like pushing it up so that it's basically like Shane's standing essentially. Referee counts to 10. He lets go of the crane cam, throws him over his shoulder, and walks out.
Yeah, that guy must have some internal issues. Probably hurt and screams when he's taking a piss. But yeah, that was a good match, I must say. Like I said, this whole pay-per-view right here was very good.
Yeah, Shane's one of those guys where it's like the number of things he's done to his own body makes you wonder, like, how did he not have, like, broken bones or spinal damage or fucking kidney damage or whatever? But he's one of those guys where you can do whatever the fuck you want to him, it ain't gonna matter. He's still gonna kick your ass and probably win.
Exactly. But so you have the European title, another missed title that Matt Hardy versus Christian versus Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, for the European title.
Yeah, and Eddie Guerrero, who at that time was a member of the Radicals. You had Christian, which I think I'm sure was still with Edge at the time, partnered up with Edge, and then of course you had Matt Hardy and his brother Jeff, and this was anytime you've got a triple threat match with any three superstars, you were in for a good match, and these three guys could put on a show.
Oh, when you think about the history with Matt and Christian with their teams.
Yes.
And then, you look at Eddie, who's had his fair share of good matches. I mean, these guys really fucking went at it. And, it's like, okay, you look at Matt Hardy, and they think, well, Jeff got the better end of the deal. He was the WWE champion and the world champion. But you got Matt, who, European champion, maybe hardcore champion, ECW 2006 champion, and he had his fair share of titles. He just never got the big one right now.
Yeah, it seems like even though Jeff was the more talked about of the two brothers, Matt was able to hold his own very well, and he wasn't really a slouch, as you could say, as far as championships went. Now, Jeff might have had the higher accolades throughout a singles career, but Matt did alright on his own. Didn't Matt also have the US title?
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
And the light heavyweight title.
Yes. And the cruiserweight title.
And the cruiserweight title. Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking about, but yeah. So, I mean, Matt Hardy won this match as well. Another wrestler that, when you think about it, he's not that much of an underrated wrestler. He hasn't had all the major titles, but at the same time, if you want to count the ECW title, maybe, but he still had a lot of other belts.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of which, got the main event. We have the two-man power trip versus the Brothers of Destruction, and oh my god, it's like I said before, Austin turning heel on Mania, Triple H interfering in a Hell in a Cell or a steel cage match with The Rock the next night, and then Austin and Triple H both beat the shit out of The Rock.
Yeah.
And so it's like, these two are like the most brutal tag team of that year.
Oh yeah.
And I started to like Triple H at this point. And I don't know why, but I enjoyed him in DX, but once he became the Game. Yeah, but I was still a fan of Austin, so I thought, what the hell?
Yeah, Triple H in DX was still very good in the ring, but it really heavily relied on a comedy aspect. Triple H with Austin was strictly about smash mouth, in your face, straight to the point of, I'm gonna beat you up and not give a shit. And the one thing that you could say stood out about the formation of Austin and Triple H and the promos they would cut. Triple H in a promo said it best, you could say. I'm that damn good, he's that damn cold, together we're that damn unstoppable.
Oh, yeah.
And to have Austin as the World Wrestling Federation champion at the time, Triple H as the Intercontinental champion, and then Kane and The Undertaker as the tag team champions, and having all those titles on the line in one match, and just the quality of the competitors you had in this match.
I was like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, no doubt.
Just holy shit. That's what the professional wrestling should be about. You're there to one day become the champion.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's like, yeah, you look at the four of them, and The Undertaker is the only guy that is not a Triple Crown champion.
Pretty much.
So that's weird in a way, but you know, yeah, this was cool. I mean, you had the match start out in the ramp.
Yeah.
You had all over the arena at some point. You have Stephanie McMahon come in the ring and Kane
Get a boot in the face.
yeah, which prompts Vince to come out and he gets a boot in the face. But you get, you know, eventually it's Kane and Austin, and Austin gets the win. And you have now tag team champions, and you know, all four titles from the two-man power trip.
Yeah. Austin is heavyweight champion and one half of the tag champs. Triple H is Intercontinental champion and the other half the tag champs, and they were off and running from there.
Of course, you know, they would carry those belts on to King of the Ring when Triple H tears his quad.
Yes.
You know, leaves, and the two Chris's win the titles.
Yeah.
Austin has the title. Well, before that, you get Triple H losing the IC title to Jeff Hardy.
Yes.
Then you have that. Then you have Austin, who carried the WWE title all the way to, I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, where Chris Jericho beat him to become the first ever undisputed champion. But
Yeah, that was like Armageddon or No Mercy
yeah,
or
it might have been No Mercy.
something like that.
But like I said, this was a really good pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where you wish you were a kid again. Like, you know, you have, at the time, me as a 17-year-old who still has that badass attitude that really enjoys all the corny shit even in WWE. I'm not quite sure how old you were.
2001, you were 17. I would have been like 11, I think.
Yeah.
11, 12, somewhere in there.
Well, what did you think of this match at the time?
You got basically four of the best guys in WWE at that time going against each other, all have championships, and just be like, here, we're putting it all out there, we're gonna wrestle, let's make it competitive, make it good, and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
And for a good portion of the match there, have Triple H and Austin work over the arm of Kane.
Yes.
Because he injured it, broke it somehow, whatever. And then eventually get the tag to Undertaker, and Undertaker comes in and he's cleaning house and last rides, Triple H and all this other stuff. Just to ultimately have Triple H and Austin leaving with all four titles, it went to show you, no matter what you thought of them, whether you liked them, whether you didn't like them, whether you were a fan of them or not, they could get in the ring and just go balls to the wall, so to speak, and leave with 4 titles.
Yeah.
Damn, that's good.
Very fucking awesome. One last thing I want to say is, I know that I talked about last year, American Badass should be at WrestleMania if he's going to face John Cena. I would love to see John Cena versus Undertaker. But after this year's WrestleMania, no, I'm done. And boy, did I eat my words. Because I honestly thought The Undertaker was dead. Like, I mean...
Retired,
right? But the fact that he came back as the dead man and whooped that candy-ass Fruity Pebbles son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You know, that's really cool to see that. So, and John Locke did so much, he had a boner. But anyway.
And, you know, the thing about that, too, is for Undertaker to leave his response, if you will, as long as he did, and have people speculating, oh, will Undertaker be at WrestleMania? Will he not be at WrestleMania? Is he retired for good? Is he gonna stay retired? Is he just, you know, one and done deal after last year's WrestleMania with Roman and damn near being a squash match?
Yeah.
And then, you know, having Elias come out and on the guitar and all this other stuff. And then Cena beats him up, waylays him, attitude adjustment, and Cena's music starts playing, he leaves the ring, and he's like, well, I guess I'm not gonna get it. He's walking up the ramp thinking, oh, well, I guess I'm just gonna enjoy the rest of the show. And then music stops, he's standing there, lights drop, hesitation, bong, and then it's like, oh damn, it's just got real.
Yeah. Well, except for that botched big boot. I think it was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Anyways, so this was a good show. Again, a really good year. Well, despite the late part of it, but anyways, so for Killer Kyle, this is me, Matt, and we'll talk to you later.